To my 4th month of keto. You know, when you're not really seeing dramatic results, it's hard to get that motivation, and it has been a difficult month, but we didn't give up. Hi everybody, and welcome to my 4th month of keto. If you have been following my journey, doing this journey with me, whether it was in my 1st month or even my 2nd month, or even the last one I did, which was my 3rd month of keto. If not, and this is your first time watching my keto journey video, welcome. This has been a very hard process. I'm not gonna lie to you, there are ups and downs, but we have gotten through it. Now, when it comes to keto, I am letting everybody know I do use 2 items outside of any food, and one is the Fine Life Smart Weight Scale. That's where I get all my stats that I update at least once a week and definitely at the end of the month. And then I also just use a basic tape measure. So this month, as well as last month, is all about maintenance. Right now, I have lost a lot of weight from when I started, and of course everything I do is going to be compared to when I started at the beginning, because this is a 6-month long journey and each month is different. My first 2 months were about fat loss and weight loss, really eating at a calorie deficit. Last month and this month is really about maintaining that loss before I go into my last 2 months where I try to gain and build muscle. And I've heard that when it comes to gaining, that's a whole different challenge. Just like maintenance is a whole different challenge. But we are going to do this together. We are going to do this day by day. So let's get started with our day 1. So here we are with our day 1 of our 4th month of keto. And I will say that I do feel a renewed energy starting a new month. I did mention in my last video that even though I was in maintenance, I was actually still losing weight. So my maintenance every day is different because I weigh myself every day just for stats, but I'm not sure yet if that weight that I'm dropping is actually the fat that is coming off. I do notice very subtle differences in my last month, which was maintenance of keto. So I'm very curious to see what's gonna happen this month because I'm still on that maintenance and we're still gonna make progress. So one thing I've learned, or a few things I've learned from my first maintenance month, is don't go crazy over the scale. Don't beat yourself down. Take your time when you're eating. The slower you eat, the more fuller you get. Make sure you are getting your water intake. For me personally, the minimum water intake I will do a day is half a gallon to a gallon. The more water you're drinking, the better you can flush out that fat that you are trying to get rid of, because how else is it gonna come out? So flush it out. But yeah, this is the first day of a new month and we are going to do as amazing as we can. So I am actually getting hunger pangs, and I actually first started getting it yesterday while I was sleeping, and I woke up this morning with the worst hunger pangs ever. And aside from my first 2 months when I was eating in a calorie deficit, I didn't really have any hunger pangs. So I'm not sure if it's because my weight is fluctuating or I'm building more muscle, that my body's asking for more food. I'm trying to stay in that maintenance, but yeah, I am getting hunger pangs right now. So what I'm actually gonna do is kind of spread out my meals a bit more. That way, I guess like maybe every 3 hours, I'm chewing on something. Even if that means splitting up one of my meals into 2, like 2 smaller meals, to see if that will help offset that. That way I could stay in maintenance because I'm not ready for gains yet. That's gonna be next month. But right now, I just wanna stay in that maintenance category. Hey everybody, so I woke up this morning. I was not feeling good. Honestly, it felt like I had the flu. I was achy all over, my head was hurting. I am not sure if it was just another case of keto flu because I know in my last month I had one cheat day, so I'm not sure if that's what it was or if I had the actual flu. It's end of day today. I'm starting to feel a bit better. I will say when you're sick, being on keto is, in my opinion, not the best, just because a lot of those comfort foods, sometimes depending on how you like your soup, it's harder to work with, but you definitely can make like a nice brothy soup that has high protein or even high in fat, mainly meat, and just watch how many vegetables you put in it, just so when you're sick you are still getting some type of nourishment. And I also learned that honey actually has a lot of carbs in it. So when I was sick, usually I'll take some honey water, honey tea, just because it's antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, and I had to see like I think 1 teaspoon is like 7 grams of carbs, 1 teaspoon. So that was a bit difficult for me today, but I am feeling overall better. It looks like it's just a one-day thing. Maybe I caught a bug or something, but when you are sick on keto, try to have some meals or some ideas of something you could eat to get you through the day. Take your time with eating, get a lot of rest, get a lot of water. So that's my one suggestion right now is, even if you're not sick, even if you are sick, try to have an idea of what you can take when you do get sick at any point in time, just in case. So that way those days are a bit easier for you, because it's much harder for me trying to figure out what can I do to make myself feel better, because I can't go to the usual things. Hey everybody, so I am feeling so much better, so much better. I do want to say I was able to stay in my 20 grams of keto, and honestly now that I'm in my 4th month, it's a bit easier to stay under that 20 grams because you know what foods to pick and choose from and how you can mix and match them. So if you are here on your 4th month journey with me, you know how easy it gets. And if you are starting out, just letting you know it does get easier. I will say one of the biggest things I've noticed is I am starting to lose fat in my problem areas. So I am very thankful for that, because I used to try whatever to lose fat in my love handles and my arms, and those are my 2 biggest problem areas. And for the first time, I'm looking at myself, I'm just like, wait a minute, that's going down, that's getting smaller. It's slight, it's subtle, but it's really starting to tackle those areas that I have a hard time with. And I feel like it took kind of 3 months to start hitting those areas, because everywhere else was losing fat easily except for those problem areas. So I feel like now that it's starting to get there, it means I'm getting closer and closer to my personal goal. So whatever you're doing, keep going, keep being consistent, and you can get there. Hey everybody, so sorry I don't have the proper setup. I'm kind of in the middle of moving and staying at a place. But I have been really stressed lately, and I noticed that my appetite is kind of non-existent right now. I know with keto, your appetite can get really suppressed, or you're not as hungry as you normally would be. For me right now, it's like 0 appetite cravings, so just trying to really force myself to eat. And I will say that's one thing with keto is you could think about food a lot, but you're not going to be hungry. Or at least you're not going to be as hungry as you used to feel. Like you don't, how do I put it? you don't get the cravings regardless of whether you want the food or not. So right now, I think my lack of hunger is due to stress, and then it's kind of multiplied by the appetite suppression that keto gives you. So I'm gonna try to force myself to eat throughout the day just to make sure I'm getting in my meals, even if it's like a small snack. But definitely still gonna be under the 20 grams of carbs, and I'm gonna do my best to stay within maintenance. I will, or at least I just want to admit to you that right now I'm having a hard time with it. So be patient with me, be patient with yourself. This whole journey has its ups, its downs, and we just have to keep going. Hi everybody, so as you can see, I don't really have the proper setup. I just want to let you know I'm still a bit stressed, but I'm managing it a bit better. I will say I have noticed that the more stressed out I am, the more I actually want to eat more and more and more. And I actually find it funny because I just saw a TikTok that said, how did it go? It was like, why do you eat cakes, ice cream, and desserts all while when you're stressed? And the response was, because stress spelled backwards is desserts. So mind blown, but it makes complete sense. I am going to work on trying to get a proper setup for our first weekly fit check, which is tomorrow. So be patient with me, please. And if you are stressed out, I know the hunger cravings are going to come. Just keep pushing through it, keep tracking, and trust me, it's gonna help you, because right now what's helping me is making sure I don't overeat. Hi everybody, so we have made it to our first week in our 4th month of keto. In our 2nd month of maintenance, I have mentioned that I've been extremely stressed and kind of losing my appetite on this, so honestly this week could be anywhere. It could have me gaining because of the stress, could have me losing because of it. So let's just get to our week 1 results. So if you've watched this before or my previous months, you know what's coming up. It is our stats. So this is my stats today. Everything went down compared to the end of last month, which I will go over with you. And the end of last month, I was 125.4 pounds. I was 31.7% in body fat and 27 inches in my waist. So I'll go over all the differences with you because that's literally just a week apart. And as always, this is my weight. It's still fluctuating, but as you can see, because of the stress I've been under, it's kind of just declined at a bit of a faster rate compared to the 2nd month of keto where I was in a calorie deficit, and even the 3rd month of keto where I was in maintenance. This has been so far the most loss since my 1st month of keto, which says a lot. And then of course here's my body fat percentage, which also took a dramatic decrease since last week, the end of last month. And this is my waist measurement. It is the only thing that is still the same. It is still 27 inches. And of course now we are here for the comparison from when I started this keto journey to my 1st week. I am now at 123.8 pounds. I am 31.1% body fat and still at 27 inches. So as I've mentioned before, when I ended month 3, I was 125.4 pounds. I was 31.7% body fat and I was 27 inches. And the end of this week, 1st week of the 4th month, I am 123.8 pounds, 31.1% body fat, and 27 inches around the waist, which means I lost 1.6 pounds. I lost 0.6% body fat, but I'm still the same in the waist. So stress can really affect you. I'm still working through it right now, so I have no idea how the rest of this month is going to play out. But we are going to keep going on keto. We are going to keep that maintenance, and we are going to get through this. So we are here on day 8, and I am starting to feel a lot of relief from all the stress. I still have to work on managing my sleep. I haven't been sleeping as much as I usually do. And in order to even build muscle, in order to even lose the weight, you have to manage your stress, manage your rest. That was kind of cute. But that is my next focus, is to really manage my sleep intake and try to get a bit more Z's. I'm finally starting to feel a bit more and more motivated as time goes on. I'm actually enjoying not eating as much carbs, so I think in the future, when I'm finally done with this 6-month keto journey, I'm probably not going to be eating as much carbs in general. Maybe I'll go up to 50 grams and roughly be around that area. But for the most part, like, aside from a few select things, I feel like I'm not too crazy about getting a lot of carbs in. So it's progress. And I think actually it's going to be better for me in the long run, because I notice since I've stopped eating carbs, I don't feel as sluggish after eating. That makes sense, you know, like when you eat a whole bunch of fries or a whole bunch of heavy foods, you feel sluggish, you feel lazy. I don't get that. So I'd like to keep that up, and I think that's the direction I'm going to be going. I would have to say that this month has kind of been the first month where I've really seen physical changes in my body shape. So like couple months, yeah, I lost weight, but especially in my waist, I'm seeing my figure finally coming out and things like that. And you know, it kind of makes sense, because they say, what's that phrase, like, after 4 weeks, the people you aren't closest to see changes in you. After 2 months, your family and your relatives see the changes, and then 3 months to see changes in yourself. Well, maybe I'm mixing up all the times, but it makes sense, right? So this is my 4th month of keto. We are a week into it, and I will say I'm at a place now where I am literally seeing spots where fat wouldn't come off for years, and it is finally coming off to the point that I can see a difference. Because I'm going to be honest with you, majority of the other stuff, I didn't really see a difference unless I was looking at the comparison videos. And now I feel like I physically see the difference every single day. So I'm so happy. Hey everybody, so one thing I have to say is, if you can meal prep, do it. Especially on your keto journey, whatever you can do to meal prep, do it. Because right now, honestly, and this is part of the reason why I can't really show you, hey, this is the meals I've eaten, because I just eat like cheese and meats and every once in a while vegetables, and I just count the macros off that. So it's not like a real meal. It's really not. It's literally like, here's some cheese, here's some meat, and put some vegetables every so often to figure it out. So I look at other people's meal preps and I think, wow, that's amazing. I just don't have time for it, to be honest with you. I really don't have time for it right now. If I did, I would so do it. But if you can meal prep, do it, because I think it's going to make your whole journey so much easier, especially when you do want to build muscle. If you can meal prep everything, because there are some really great keto recipes out there, and some of them are quick, they're easy. So if you can, just to make your experience more enjoyable, do it. Do a meal prep. I know yesterday I spoke about food and how I've kind of been eating this whole time with keto, so might as well get into the drinks for it. I actually just drink water. Majority of the time, literally just water. The only thing I'll add to it is maybe lime. lime juice, specifically just for electrolyte intake. So other than water and water with lime juice, every once in a while, on a rare occasion, I'll drink coconut water, but I'll only do a cup because a cup of unsweetened, unfortified coconut water is actually 9.1 grams of carbs. So really on a day I know I'm not getting a lot of carbs, then I can drink that. But for the most part, just water, minimum half a gallon to a gallon a day. Surprisingly, this week has actually gone a lot easier than my first week in this month, and we are kind of making progress and keeping things going. I've actually been spacing out when I eat because I noticed that actually helps me stop looking at carb-heavy foods and craving them, or like trying to find like, oh, can I do this little cheat day or this and that. So if I space it out, it kind of just keeps me full, which keeps me from actually, wanting to cheat during keto. So space out your meals if you can. I feel like it's also going to help speed up your metabolism or keep your metabolism going throughout the whole time. Hey everybody, so we are here on day 14 and I am a little bit mind blown. So I did a little bit of research and I found out that the weight scales that measure everything, so like my Smart Fit scale, I found out for women when it comes to body fat measurements, it does not report it accurately because we have natural fat distribution in different ways. So I was looking and I saw tons and tons of videos of women who are just like, I took my body fat and then I went to do a skin caliper and the difference was dramatic. So if you don't know what a skin caliper is, it's where they literally measure your personal fat in so many different areas to get the accurate measurements. So I was like, no, my stats have to be correct. This is what I've been using the whole time. What if they're not? But then I was also thinking, based off of last week, I am at like 30% body fat, but my abs show, which doesn't make sense because usually you start to see abs around like 25 to 20, I would say like around 25% body fat. So I'm just like, okay, let's do a couple of these calculators to see if the measurements are closer to anything like that. So these are my results from a few sites to the calculations, and as you can see, it's all over the place. Oh, and by the way, these are my results based off of last fit check. So going forward, if I can, at the end of the 6-month period, I am going to see if I could do a skin caliper just to compare it. I'm not going to do it now because right now I have been consistent with this scale, and I just want to keep consistency, but I want to make sure that we actually get accurate information, because a lot of girls that I've been seeing do a weight scale that tells their body fat and then do a skin caliper test where they actually measure the body fat. They have a difference of anywhere between 5 to 10% body fat, meaning they're less, 5 to 10% less. So with that being said, at least I'm aware of that. I don't have to beat myself up when knowing that my body fat is a bit high on the Smart Weight scale, and I could say, okay, maybe that's not as accurate just because I am a woman and my fat distribution is different. So let's just get into our weekly fit check and just work on everything else and really prepare for starting to build muscle. As always, everybody, this is my stats when it comes to the second week in our 4th month of keto. Of course, you see everything is kind of going down. I'll be honest with you, I don't think this month is kind of working for me in terms of maintenance just because of the stress that I'm under. But we are still sticking to keto, which is kind of helping, not having to think what to eat, and especially when you're stressed, not really thinking what to eat, but looking for creative ways to make meals. For instance, sandwiches. Instead of using toast, you could wrap the whole thing in lettuce, or you could wrap it in meat itself, deli meats. Have fun with it, get creative. And then this is my weight. As you can see, it went down as well. There is a stagnant area at the end. I'm trying to eat more, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to eat more. I'm trying to stay at maintenance, and I'm trying my best to keep that measurement staying the same. And then we have my body fat percentage, which is also kind of going with that, but kind of adjusting itself. And now here's my waist. It's 27 inches, but I do want to say, in comparison to last week, it wasn't as fitted of a 27 inches, if you get what I mean. It's like, it's a bit looser and starting to go a bit in closer to 26 than last week. Last week it was like we just hit 27, or well, whenever I was, but we just hit 27, and this one's like, oh, we're already at 27, we might go down a little bit more. So that's how it's feeling. And of course, this is my comparison, and this week I am 122 pounds, 30.4% body fat, and 27 inches. So that leaves me with a difference of 1.8 pounds lost, and then 70% body fat loss. And of course, my waist has been roughly the same size this whole time. It's actually been the same size for about 3 weeks, or well, actually like 2 weeks and a few days, if that makes any sense, because my end of the month was a little bit different. But yeah, we are making progress regardless of everything going on, and let's just keep going. I really don't know how the end of this year, well, not the end of this year, I really don't know how the end of this month is going to look, just because so many things are in chaos for me and it is affecting me, but we're making progress. To be honest, guys, I really want to quit. No joke, it's not my month. I want to quit doing keto so bad, but the only reason I'm not is because I've been saying on these videos I'm gonna do 6 months. I really am trying. You guys are the reason I'm trying. Whoever watches this video is the reason I am trying. But right now it's just hard, and you know, when you're not really seeing dramatic results, it's hard to get that motivation, and then whatever you're dealing with in your life, it's not going to make it as easy. So I want to quit, but I am doing it for you guys. I'm trying to do it for myself, at least finish this month, and I'm going to try to do 2 more months of gains, and hopefully eating more food is going to help me feel a little bit better. Especially because I'll be in a part where I am trying to build muscle, so hopefully going to the gym and really building there is gonna help me out. But I just want to be as honest with everybody as I can, and I have been honest this whole time. I right now, today, feel like quitting, and I'm trying my hardest not to. So be patient with me. Just be patient with yourself on your own journey, and hopefully we can take it day by day, and we'll get through it. I'll get through it, you'll get through it, and even though we want to quit, even though this uphill battle is hard, we're gonna get to the top. I am slowly getting back into my groove. I got a little bit more to go, but we're making progress. I feel like, you know what's crazy? I feel like now that, I don't know if it's like the sadness or whatever, or the stress, but I am now starting to partake in eating carbs. Not as much carbs, I'm still under the 20, but because of how I've been so consistent with keto and how I've been eating, I actually noticed I have room for indulgence. So for instance, today I had like 10 fries, which is like 1.1 grams. And at first I was like, whoa, this is a lot of fries, considering it's like 1 gram of carb. But it fit within my macros. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I never thought I could really eat fries like that. And now I'm just like, whoa, I got 10 fries. This is amazing. So learning to eat on keto and getting foods that are very, very low in carb intake, you could actually eat a lot more and even indulge more as you're going. So I'm so happy about that. Hi everybody, my throat is a little bit swollen. I'm not doing too good, but I'm trying to keep positive and motivated. I got through today making sure I eat a little bit and just trying to get through everything. I honestly, looking at my macros and my calorie intake, I'm not hitting maintenance today just because I kind of have a loss of appetite and I just forced myself to eat. So I am doing my best. I don't know if I got COVID or the flu or something, but I am trying to get through it, trying to make sure I keep in that maintenance. I can't make any promises right now, but I am doing my best, and I'm still sticking in keto. So I don't know if maybe it's like a second round of keto flu, but I am gonna get through it. I'm gonna keep going. We have already done half of this month. We are almost at the next half and we'll be done soon. So we gotta keep progressing. Everybody, so I am starting to feel a little bit better. I'm sorry I'm not back to my usual setup. I'm kind of just running around a bit everywhere right now, trying to take care of things. But I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm starting to feel a bit more motivated. I think I really just had maybe a light flu or something like that, and that's why I was a little bit out of it. But I am still eating under my 20 grams of carbs, still eating at maintenance. I will say that, once again, I'm starting to incorporate things from carbs that I enjoy, just because I feel like when I do get off keto, I don't want to suddenly be pushed into it and say, oh, now I can have a whole bag of rice, and the next thing you know, everything you lost, you gained. Instead, it's kind of learning about controlling my indulgences and controlling my intake. So really paying attention to my stomach and seeing how I feel. One thing I will say that definitely helps, especially if you're trying to cut or if you're trying to maintain, is drinking a glass of water before you eat. Why? Because it fills up your stomach so you don't take as much, and also it helps you take your time with your food. Another thing is that a lot of the time when we think we're hungry, we're actually thirsty, because our body doesn't differentiate between thirst and hunger. So that's another tip that I learned, and hopefully that helps you guys out. But for now, we are doing good, we're getting better, and we are getting into our second half of this fourth month. Now we are getting into our second half of the 4th month, and I think we're only gonna go up from here. Hey everybody, so I'm gonna tell you some things, well actually just 2 things that's gonna actually help you on your keto journey. And I wish I had known about this prior to starting, and I was always wondering why I was having this issue. And it is when you are in keto, if you are not eating your vegetables, you are gonna have some problems every so often. So don't think when you go on keto, number one, don't think when you go on keto that you're not gonna eat vegetables. I say if you can, make sure the carbs that you are intaking are coming from the vegetables. And it's gonna be a big reason why with number two. Number two is when you do intake fiber, even if you haven't been having a lot of fiber, to suddenly having a bunch of fiber, you are gonna have one of two issues. One, you are gonna have the runs and you're gonna be in the bathroom all day, or two, you're not gonna be able to go. So one of the ways to avoid this complication is to take some vegetables in almost every day, if not every day. This is gonna keep you from having that experience. It's gonna keep your fiber consistent and your body's gonna know how to deal with it, so you never have the runs and you never have the backed up. Hi everybody, so I'm doing a lot better today. I actually got no sleep I've gotten in a while. Still have a lot to deal with this month. However, I want to emphasize the importance of getting your rest. I know everybody right now is big on eat this, work out, all these things, but in order for you to actually make any progress with a lot of these things, you need your rest, because your body needs to recover. It needs to recharge. So if you are not getting your sleep and you're wondering why the weight is still going up or staying the same, or why you're not losing any body fat, it's probably because you're stressing your body out by not getting enough rest. So for me, I noticed like I was so sluggish, my weight was fluctuating so rapidly, and when I started getting my rest, I noticed my weight was maintaining for a bit until I get stressed out again. So definitely make sure to get some rest. So we finally made it to week 3 in our month 4 of keto. I do want to say that I'm starting to finally get my hang of maintenance, a bit late, but my weight hasn't been fluctuating as much, and I feel like this gives me a chance to recomp better, especially if you're working out, because if your weight is kind of staying the same, you can, how do I put it? You can really see the difference if you're building muscle and losing fat at the same time. So maintenance is one of the best cutting places for recomping. Well, not cutting. Maintenance is one of the best recomping phases. So if you're trying to build muscle and lose weight at the same time, well, no, build muscle and lose fat at the same time, this is the best place, and the best calorie count to do it is maintenance. So my weight has kind of been staying the same this whole time. I don't know if I'm building muscle in the process of losing fat, but we're gonna work on it. And I think the fact that I am finally able to have a stable maintenance is only gonna help me when I get into gains. So we're making progress. It's slow, it's surely, but we're getting there. As always, we're gonna start with our stats. So everything over here, you can see kind of everything went up a slight bit, but that's okay, because in maintenance, it's all right when our weight fluctuates. It's gonna fluctuate every day. It's gonna fluctuate every hour of the day. So all our fluctuations are roughly within itself. Now, if I take you to my weight, you can see there was a long period of time where it was stable. And this is the first time I've ever had my weight be so stable from day to day. Same thing with my body fat. Also really hitting that stable mark. So once again, this is why I'm not sure. Maybe I'm building muscle, maybe I'm losing fat all at the same time, and that's why my weight isn't changing. And then we have my waist measurement, and this is actually the only thing that I was really surprised at, considering my weight has kind of been stable this whole time, this whole week, but my waist is now 26.75. So I went down in terms of that. Now, of course, our comparison with everything so far, including the beginning of when I started my keto journey, I am currently at 123 pounds, 30.8% body fat, and 26.75 inches on my waist. So my weight went up 1 pound compared to last week. My body fat went up 0.4% compared to last week, but my waist went down 0.25 inches. So it's kind of interesting that everything is stabilizing out and not fluctuating as much, but my waist is still going down, regardless of if my weight went up or anything like that. So I think that means we're making a great progress into losing our body fat and gaining muscle. Hey everybody, so today I started off my day and I had eaten more carbs than usual. I had gotten to like 41 grams and I was like, okay, that's fine. It's still in the moderate level of carbs. But then as the day went on, I noticed I was eating more and more carbs. So I'm pretty much just gonna say that today is a cheat day. It is okay. I'm not gonna beat myself down, but I gotta hop back on the wagon. Hey everybody, I don't really have much of an update. I'm still kind of eating within my 20 grams of carbs. Yesterday I had such a bad cheat day, but I'm not gonna beat myself down on it because I am only human. And today I'm back on my marker. I am under the 20 grams of carbs. I'm getting better and spacing out my food and making sure I eat. I notice if I get a bigger full meal for breakfast and I have like little snacks throughout the day, I don't get those cravings as much. So that's what I'm working with right now, is making sure I get my breakfast, making sure I have some little things to sustain me throughout the day in between meals. So that's where I'm at, that's where I'm going. And definitely want to say, if you do have a cheat day, do not be hard on yourself. Just be patient and hop back on the wagon and just don't beat yourself down, because that's only going to make it harder. So we are doing good. You've gotten this far. One cheat day is not going to hurt you, because you are more than capable of getting back to it and doing what you have to do. So one thing I definitely want to say about keto is that if you are looking to burn the fat, lose the weight, or build muscle, you have to put the work in. You cannot just go on keto and suddenly expect, okay, all the fat's gonna drop off. No. You have to put the work in. And if you've been doing this with me, you're not seeing any results, it's because you are not putting in enough effort. I had to make sure I said that right. Because, you could eat keto and you could keep eating the same amount of calories you've been eating before. You won't lose any weight. You won't burn any fat. Why? Because you're still overeating. Which is why, sometimes with keto, because it's harder to stay under a certain amount of carbs and eat so excessively, you tend to get into a calorie deficit. But really, yeah, if you want to burn the fat, if you want to lose the weight, either eat in a calorie deficit or eat at maintenance and work out, get more active. And once again, if you want to build the muscle and also burn the fat, work out. Even if it's a little bit, that little bit, if you're not used to it, is going to make all the difference. So please put in effort. Please keep going. And like I said, even if it's just going to the gym, staying there for 5-10 minutes on a treadmill, that's something that you didn't do before. That's going to help you. As long as you're making some form of effort and you are taking into account what your body needs. not simply just listening to your cravings, but taking into account what your body needs. And majority of times it's not as much food as you think you need. So yeah, either eat in a calorie deficit or do maintenance with some workout or workout in general, and it will make all the difference. So one thing I am noticing, especially since these past almost 2 weeks, I have had the most consistent weight I have had, not simply just in my entire keto process, but almost my entire life, if I weighed myself every day. That's what it feels like. But I noticed that even though I'm eating more, I am having less weight changes. I'm still having changes in my waist, which is a good thing, right? But weight changes, it's staying the same, even though I'm eating more. And I'm actually wondering if that's due to metabolism. And I did look up on Reddit to see a whole bunch of people's comments if they were doing this, if they were not doing the same thing, if they were having the same results. And a lot of people were saying if they were recomping, it tends to be like that. I don't know if I'm recomping, to be honest with you, just because I haven't been in the gym this month. I start really going into the gym during the games part, which is next month. But just to see that my weight is staying the same, even though I'm eating more, I'm feeling a lot better. So I think what it could be is that my metabolism is going up. And this is one thing that's very, very important. If you're consistently putting yourself into starvation mode or putting yourself into a calorie deficit for a super long extended period of time, your metabolism is going to go down. So I don't know about you, but I know I've seen a lot of bodybuilders or gym rats, and they're like, oh, I'm in a cutting phase. That's what it is. It's a cutting phase. You know, it's not meant to be for a long, long period of time. And actually being in a deficit that is extremely low can hinder your process. So make sure you eat, even if it's like, let's say for 2 weeks or a month, 2 months, maybe 3, you're in a cutting phase, and then go to maintenance. And same thing with bulking. If you're bulking, unless you're going to be in the gym for a consistently long time, then do your bulking phase. And remember to always go back to maintenance when you're not in those phases. But definitely if you're in a calorie deficit, do not think you need to be in a calorie deficit for your whole life. We have seen so many people say, oh, I'm on a diet, I have to eat less, but then they're not losing weight. It's because their body is fighting to keep it. So definitely make sure that you take into account that at some point in time, you need to maintain what you have to let your body know it's okay. It's not starvation mode. And you'll find that when you start eating more sometimes, you actually lose more weight, or at least more body fats. That's what I'm noticing, and that's what I'm telling myself. And that's what other people have also mentioned as well. So definitely look into that. So one thing I realized in this long journey that I did not actually notice before is that when I drink a lot more water throughout my day, I have less cravings. So I do wonder if that's because our body doesn't differentiate hunger versus thirst, so it all feels the same, or if it's just from eating keto. One of the ways to offset your hunger is just to drink water. Like for instance, if you drink a cup of water before you eat, you feel fuller faster. So I have to make sure I'm drinking water regularly just to combat those cravings, because I'm not gonna lie, I have so many cravings, and I thought they would go away with keto, but they don't. So we're gonna kind of supplement that with some water. We are finally at day 27. This is literally the first day before the end of our 4th month. No, before the end of our 4th week in our 4th month of keto. I want to give a shout out to anybody that does keto long term because it is difficult. And I don't know if you guys have watched my previous videos, but this month has been the hardest month for me. And it's kind of got me at a point where I'm kind of just over it. So definitely want to applaud everybody who has been consistent with keto, who does it long term, because you guys are amazing for that. There's so many food that you kind of gotta stay away from and keep away from, but also just being able to control and manage what you eat, especially with carbs. I have a huge amount of respect for you because, like I said, I am struggling this month and I still have 2 more months to go. So for those of you that do it for long term, you are amazing. So honestly, when it comes to this entire month of keto, I don't know where I will stand because the last couple months I've been losing consistently. I do know the end of the month is usually when I'm the most bloated, so anything could happen. And especially with me struggling with keto and all the stress I've been dealing with this month, anything could happen. So whatever it is, I'm not gonna beat myself down. I'm gonna keep moving forward. Maintaining on keto is hard, but I think maintenance in general is so hard because growing up, I saw all these skinny girls and I was told, eat less, that's how you get there. And now it went to like very slim, thick girls. And this was before everybody really knew about surgery. And it was just like, oh, well, you gotta do this, you gotta eat this way. So I think my mind is constantly like, diet. So it's either eat more, eat less, but never maintain to stay the same. And I think that's why it's the hardest for me. But I think doing it can make all the difference. So let's just go into our results for this week. As always with our results, this is my stats. Everything is kind of the same. If not, it went up for the most part, but everything is kind of the same as the previous week. And then we have my weight. Once again, these past few weeks have been the most stable my weight has ever been. Literally on a day-to-day, this has been the most stable. So I think I'm doing something right when it comes to maintenance. At least I'm maintaining and staying my body fat. So that's that. And I think just being able to maintain, to go from a deficit to maintenance is going to help me a lot when I go into surplus, because it's not going to jolt my body as much and go, oh, this is too much food. So right now getting my body to adjust slowly is going to help. I believe that. Not 100% sure if it's true, but that's what I believe and that's what I'm going with. So now that we have that, we're going to go to the waist size. And my waist size, as you can see, it went up. But I'm not surprised. Once again, I did say I've been feeling bloated a bit. It's actually just really hot here where I am, so I know I'm sweating a lot more. And I think that's leading to my body wanting to keep water and water retention. So I'm not going to be too down about that. But yeah, my waist went to 27.5. So that's up by 0.75 compared to last week where it was 26.75. I think it's going to go down naturally on its own, because remember, as women, our body fluctuates throughout the month, so I can't be too hard on myself. But overall, this is my comparison. And as you can see, my weight is 123 pounds, which is the same. My body fat is 30.8%, which is also the same. but my waist went up to 27.5, which is a 0.75 increase. This is why I think it's probably just water retention or bloating or something, so I'm not going to beat myself too down about it. But let's see what happens in 2 days, because in 2 days we'll finally be done with our 4th month of keto. We are finally at day 29, and I definitely want to say that we have gotten through it. It has been a difficult month, but we didn't give up. We kept going, and we are almost there. After this, just one more day. And I just want to say I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of you if you've been following along, because this month has been difficult. Very, very difficult, but we got there. So proud of you, proud of me, and we just got one more day and we're done with our 4th month of keto. Hey everybody, so we are finally here on day 30. I think I've mentioned to you guys that this has been the hardest month I've ever had. I honestly don't think I ever want to really do maintenance again unless I have a consistent workout schedule, and that's a habit. But we have gotten through it. It has been long, it has been difficult, we've gotten there. I honestly don't really expect to see much changes from when I started this month to when I end. But there was subtle changes, definitely very, very subtle changes in maintenance. I would say if you are going to do maintenance and you're looking to burn the body fat and you're looking to build muscle, recomp. So that means eating at maintenance, but also working out. I didn't work out throughout this whole maintenance process, and I think that's why I got so down. But it is okay, because after this, we're going straight into eating in a calorie surplus and gains. And that's going to be in my next video, my month 5 video. So definitely check that out when you get there. But for right now, let's get into our final fit check for month 4 of keto. Welcome to the final fit check for month 4 of keto. So, of course, I'm going to start off with my stats. I know we saw my stats last week. Well, not last week, just 2 days ago. And they were kind of the same as the week before. Everything kind of was up, consistent. But in 2 days, it has gone down a little bit. I'll go over the numbers in a few, of course. And here is my weight. Once again, the most stable I have ever had it. In my 3rd month of keto, which was also maintenance, it wasn't this stable. So it is stable right now. I think my body's finally adjusting to it, and we're gonna make progress. And of course, with my body fat, it was the same exact issue. Now, when it comes to my waist went up for my 4th fit check. So in 2 days, it has actually gone down, which is why I thought it was water weight before or bloating or something, but it went down to back to 27 inches. I'm back at that place that I started when I started this month. But I'm a little bit happy that we got rid of that water weight, a little bit of that bloating. So that's progress for me. Definitely have to work on making sure I get a lot more vegetables in my meals, a lot more fiber, just to keep the bloating at bay. And here we are with our comparison from the beginning of my entire keto journey to where I'm at now. And where I'm at now, I am currently at 122.8 pounds, 30.7% body fat, and 27 inches in my waist. So just from when I did my fit check 2 days ago, I went down 0.2 pounds. I went down 10% in body fat, and I went down half an inch. So that's great. But for this entire 4th month of keto, this is the changes that I got. I lost 2.6 pounds this entire month. I lost 1% of body fat this entire month, and my waist has essentially stayed the same this entire month. So that's progress. I can't wait to see what happens when I do eat in a calorie surplus and complement it with going to the gym, because we're going to try to get those gains. And I'm hoping that unlike this third and fourth month of keto that I did, I would be able to see the changes a bit more directly or obviously in comparison. So I look forward to seeing you on my next month, my 5th month of keto, my gains month.